What is up, everyone? Well, I don't even have to yell into the camera. I have a mic right here. I'm like yelling in the camera. Take 2. 3, 2, 1. Action. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first ever Milk the Day show with our first guest, Iolanda. I'm saying it right? It's Iolanda, but you got to say it in the Portuguese way.
Iolanda.
Say it again. Say it again.
Iolanda.
Iolanda.
No.
It's funny. It's funny because the way you say it in Portuguese is like pretty much impossible for someone who just speaks English to do, right?
It is.
Because it's the accent.
Ever. It's not even like you say it right. It's Iolanda, and like you say it right, but English-speaking people, they always say like Iolanda. Like they can't say the L.
Iolanda.
How we say? No, that's not like it.
It's not right, but it's right enough for someone.
Perfect. It's perfect.
Who only speaks English.
Yeah. But in Portuguese, everyone says it differently. Yeah.
Right.
It's Iolanda.
Right. So Iolanda is Anthony Russo's girlfriend, and their story about how they met is awesome. So I wanted to start with that. How did this all happen? It was on Instagram, right? So I'll let you tell the story, but just tell the story of how you guys met.
Okay. So I was traveling in Asia after I finished university.
This is right when you finished school, right?
I finished it in May. No, I finished it in like July, and I went in September. I worked for like 2 months, and I've been working before. So I just saved all the money to do the trip, and I really wanted to do the trip to Southeast Asia, like backpacking. So I decided to leave, which is today actually a year since.
Oh really? Today's the day you left?
Yeah, today's the day I left. So I decided to just go and backpack with anything booked. So I just had like one night booked in Thailand at this hotel close to the airport where I was. So I just got there, and from there I just started my trip. And I mean, it's super easy. It's easier.
Did you have a duration of the trip, or you were like, I'm going to travel for 3 weeks, or for how long was it?
No, it was actually 3 months. So
3 months?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that long.
Oh yeah.
I did. I forgot.
Yeah.
So you didn't have an itinerary planned or anything. You just know I was going to travel for
itinerary. I knew the countries that I wanted to go, but I didn't know exactly how I was going to do it. I had no idea. I didn't do any searching on like buses or planes or ways to get from every country. Like I had no idea.
Right.
And a lot of the people that I talked to they have done this trip before me, they said like, you're going to find everything by yourself there. There will be people to help you. Like, don't worry about it. Just go. Don't plan. Don't plan anything. That just makes it easier. So, yeah, my first city was in Thailand. So I started in Thailand, and I finished in Thailand. Okay. So I basically had the best 3 months of my life ever.
A couple of friends went with you?
Yeah.
How many?
2. Ines and João.
Shout out.
Yeah, I miss them.
Shout them out. They got to watch this.
Shout out to Ines and João. We had the best time of our life in Asia, for real. I'm traveling for this 3 months. By this time, I did Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Bali, and then I was already back in Thailand. So I was going to spend the last 3 weeks in Thailand.
Okay, wow.
So this is,
So obviously loved Thailand at the beginning of the trip, enough to want to do 3 weeks at the end.
Yeah.
Clearly. Because if you're going to pick one country to stay in for 3 more weeks at the end after you've already been there,
obviously
it was great.
I just stayed for like a week in the beginning.
Okay.
So, yeah. I was in Koh Tao. I was in this hostel. And by the last 3 weeks, I was like, I don't want to do anything. Like, I was so tired of just like seeing new places every day. It's tiring. Because although it's so good, it's also tiring. So I was in my hotel, and this friend of mine, Alex, shout out to him, posted a story. He was driving somewhere, and there was a song in the background, right? And I love the song, and I just texted him saying, oh, what is the song? I really like it. And he was like, oh, it's Ghost Stories by Anthony Russo. For real.
I love it.
And I was like, okay, thank you. I go on Spotify.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Add Ghost Stories by Anthony Russo in my Spotify. and just started listening to the song, right? Started listening to the song, loved the song, had no idea who Anthony Russo was. I was just listening to the song.
Yeah.
Didn't even look for California. At that time, California was popping, and I didn't even look for California.
It was out? The song California was out?
Yeah, it was out already. And I was just like, Ghost Stories, like, I love the song. Yeah, and then one day, I was like, well, let me see who Anthony Russo is, right? And I went on Instagram, and I wrote Anthony Russo, and I found Anthony. And I was like, oh my God, what a cutie, right? And I followed him. Followed him on Instagram. I DM'd him. Yes, it was me.
It goes down in the DM. Yes. So you DM him. What did you say?
I DM'd him, and I was about to say, I'm in love, and then send a picture of Ghost Stories, right? Happened that I just sent I'm in love, and I didn't send the Ghost Stories pictures, right? And after like 2 days or something, he texted me back, and then he just texted me like, hey. He's like, hey. And then from that day on, we just talked every day.
So you're getting on the phone and FaceTiming and stuff too?
We started talking for like one day, and then by the end of the day, he was like, can you give me my number? Can you give me your number? And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. One day, I was actually by the pool, and I was like, okay, let me answer. And I answered. We were like on the phone for hours and hours and hours, and we talked for a week. And then after the fifth day, I was like, what is this? And we talked, and then after a week, he just booked a flight to Thailand.
He joined you in Thailand, and you guys were together there for like a week, and then ever since then, you've been dating, and then sparks are flying.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we've been dating, and we visit each other for like every month and a half for a couple months, and then I'm just here.
So you moved out here like 4 months ago?
Yes, 4 months ago.
I mean, let's talk about that. You're 100% Portuguese. And you moved to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You've been here for 4 months.
Yeah.
Like, what is that like? I mean, you leave your family, your friends, everything you know, and move to this crazy city.
Right.
With your boyfriend. What is that really like? Like, that's not an easy thing, you know?
So I went back to Portugal after Thailand, and we were visiting each other every month and a half. Then we just came to the realization, like, that it would just make sense for me to come here and get a job here, you know? And there was a lot of things that were scaring us, of course, because it's just a super recent relationship, although we were deeply in love, but it was a really recent relationship. But we just took that decision because every day we were missing each other.
Right.
And it didn't make sense any other way, you know? I just decided to come here and start my life here. Basically now we're like in the process of getting visas and all of that.
I love hearing the story of like, it's like such a fairy tale of like you meet on Instagram, you go travel for a week together, and now here you are.
Yeah. I mean, by no means we are perfect, you know, because sometimes I feel that I tell this story and everyone's like, oh my gosh, your relationship is like goals. Like, we have a good relationship, but by no means it's perfect. Like, we argue like everyone else. We don't agree with everything. We just respect each other, and overall, like, we have a really beautiful start of a relationship. And I think that's due to the fact that we're both really like passionate people, and we open our hearts and like let something like this happen because we're just trusting that he would be okay.
Right.
You know?
You both went for it, and now it's here you are.
Yeah.
I'm also amazed the fact that you speak and can articulate English so well, given it's your second language. Like, so you taught yourself on YouTube videos. You grew up, and in school you learned like the basics, like a little bit of English, and then you learned and self-taught yourself English by watching YouTube videos. Yeah.
So in Portugal, we have English classes from 5th grade to 12th grade, like high school. But like, I can tell you that there's people that don't speak English because if you don't have the foundation of English and you learn like in 5th grade and you're like interested and paying attention and working on it. Like, there's a lot of people that don't speak English and just did English for like 7 years. It's the same thing
Right.
you guys learning Spanish. Like, you learn Spanish, but you actually don't
Right.
speak Spanish, right? And yeah, I learned in school the basics, but I didn't know how to speak English. And then I just taught myself because I love to watch, and I still love to watch YouTube videos. I'm all like every day I
Like
watch
vloggers and
like,
bloggers.
Yeah,
And, yeah.
every day I watch at least like five videos
On YouTube.
on YouTube. So, and I started watching makeup tutorials when I was younger, and there wasn't that many YouTuber like gurus. There wasn't that many, and I remember that I would be watching girls putting makeup on and not understanding a word.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't like Portuguese YouTubers, so I wouldn't understand anything, but I loved it. And then with time, I just started learning. It's crazy because time after time,
Just by listening to it and watching.
Verbs and just how it works, like rules I just learned in school, but vocabulary and all of that was legit on YouTube. Yeah.
I love it. So, like, well, one of the other things that we kept talking about just in the, since I moved out here last week, we're in a fun but challenging transition of life. We're just trying to figure it out. You know what I mean?
So I think that me and you, we're both super lucky that we have, parents that can help us, because I know that there's a lot of people that have loans to pay and have things to take care of.
Absolutely.
Not that we don't, but we're really lucky that we have the opportunity to experiment what we want. There's people that just stuck to a job and they have to be there because they have bills to pay and they have loans to pay and
and it makes it a lot harder to
and it makes it a lot harder.
Test
but I also
things.
think that there's a lot of people that still have some responsibilities, but they don't take that leap because they're scared, So there's a lot of perspective, and I don't want to limit my answer to some, because I'm really lucky that I'm able to be here in this moment. But yeah, we're not supposed to know, because we live in a generation where there's a lot of things around Instagram and TV and social media.
Yep.
And we spend our days dreaming about other people's lives and dreaming that we could have the opportunity to live other people's lives.
Yep.
And that's consuming and depressing, and I know that because sometimes a lot of times I just catch myself looking at other people's lives and thinking oh my gosh, this person with so many followers, she travels so much, I can't. And that's consuming and makes us so
I think it makes us more impatient, because then I love the conversation on social media now, just because it's so fascinating to me of how important social media is in most people's lives and how we're using it. Mm-hmm. But to the point that you're talking about, where it can just be unhealthy to you, or when you're seeing of everyone doing big things and seeing the highlight reel of whatever, that can make you be impatient and think do some social comparison of oh, what am I doing kind of thing. And it can only make it harder at times with social media. For people our age, it's it's not something that's going to happen overnight, and I just hope to interview people on here and get insight and learn things about people and their stories and how they get to where they are. But yeah, I listen to so many books and podcasts and things that talk about passion and purpose and interests and all these different things, and
it all comes we gotta try.
And that's kind of the conclusion that I came to, which I kind of touched on earlier, is we don't learn by thinking about things, we learn by doing them. So I'm trying to be a more decisive, action-taking person, where I just make the video instead of stop thinking too much about what the video is going to be like, how can it be perfect, what's going to go wrong. Just film the video. So if you're someone out there, you have these interests and you're in your head wondering and fantasizing what it would be like to take an acting class, or what would it be like to do this, or try this job, or you know what I mean?
People overthink a lot because they're so scared of failing. Because going on an acting class when you're 23 years old, never done acting your entire life, you have no idea if you'll be good or bad. I think you'll be good, but You know,
Yeah, no,
it's hard
for sure.
to just give that a try without knowing if you're going to fail. Because, you know, it's
Right.
hard sometimes.
No, and that's the thing is, like, it does take courage to, like, take the actual action. Once you start and do it, that's the hardest part. It's always getting started. But like I've made in a lot of recent posts is, like, being so close to Anthony from the beginning, like, seeing him try and, like, just go after things is, like, it's inspiring me to just do it, you know? And that's what I'm trying to encourage to other people too. Yeah, no, I just think we should just make videos of these relatable conversations more often, like when we're here, and just share them and bring people in, because like for people our age, like, you're not alone in this trying to figure it out and find your way and do different things. I don't know,
like, I can't work, but I honestly don't know exactly what I want to do. You know, I've done a couple things. I worked at the consumer collecting department of Red Bull, which was really, really good. It was while I was in university, and it was really, really good. But I also don't know if I want to do that for the rest of my life, you know. And
right.
And it's okay. It's okay to not be sure what I want to do.
Right. I mean, how, like, if you haven't listened to the podcast I did with Anthony, we were on a hike. It's on the YouTube channel, but we talked about, like, touched on a lot of this too. How are you supposed to know what something's like if you've never done it? Mm-hmm. So it only does so much good to sit and think about doing it. Just do it. Like Nike's slogan, like, just try it. And don't let, like, the fear or the uncertainty of how it's gonna, regardless of the outcome, just try the things you think you have interest in, and we're gonna discover our passions, and we're gonna fall into things, you know what I mean?
Even if you're working and there's something that you like to do
it on the side.
Try to do it on the side, you know?
Do it on the weekend,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I think that even the busiest people, you can find time. There is time. There is, like, an hour a day for you to just try something new. Whether it is, like, create a YouTube channel,
right,
or writing, just, you know, like.
And I'm guilty of this. Like, how long I've been wanting to do this,
and you haven't.
And I haven't actually done it. I haven't started. I'm totally in my head, like, I'm gonna film that video, but I never felt like I was ready. Because I'm never ready. No one's ever ready to do anything.
And then by the end of this will be shitty. And
yeah, and honestly, like, we're all over the place. This wasn't very structured. Like,
yeah, this is completely not structured.
It's like, whatever. But it's the first one.
Yeah.
It's the first time we've ever done it. And just like it's the first time you're
on camera ever.
Yeah, no, and it's not, it's funny now because we joke about it before the camera's rolling. I'm like nervously excited, and we're only gonna get better at something by practicing it. So it's like, this is the first guest appearance with Iolanda.
Oh my god!
And thanks for watching if you made it through this one, and I'm sure we'll be back in here chatting about fun stuff soon. But yes, the first ever show. Peace out, everyone.